Hello everyone, the actor who plays Eredin, Jacob Collins-Levy, and the showrunner from the main show, Lauren Hissrich, I think that's how you pronounce it, discuss Eredin and the changes that were made to the character in Blood Origin. I'm going to give my thoughts on it, but before that, remember to like the video, helps out the channel a lot, and subscribe, and yada yada yada, let's get to it. Netflix released a video explaining who Eredin is. The actor and the showrunner discussed the character, which I will link to the video in the description below. So the actor who plays Eredin says that Eredin is incredibly ambitious. Being captain of the Zintrea army is not enough, he wants to become more than that. Which is very true to the character we know from the books. Then Jacob talks about the new stuff we saw in Blood Origin. He says, Eredin has a lover, Brian, who is of a completely different class. Despite their differences, there is an incredibly strong love between the two. I think his ambition is primarily driven by love. I mean, he wants to conquer, but he wants to conquer in the name of what he believes is best for his people. But also, I think the way that we can finally relate to Eredin is when we see that he is totally in love with Brian. I think that anyone who has been in love before will know the lengths that they would go. Now there is a lot to unpack there, but let's get to what Lauren says about Eredin. She says, Eredin is actually separated from his lover and separated from his home, and sent to the Dark Elf Sphere as we've come to know it. He is sent there by Balor, when Balor harnesses chaos magic. You understand that so much is ripped from him in this story. She goes on to say, so when debating putting Eredin in Blood Origin, one of the things that was very important to Declan, who is the Blood Origin showrunner, was that we could fill out his backstory. That we can understand when we meet him in The Witcher why he's after Ciri and what that could do for him. He would do anything to get back to the continent, to get back to the life that he lost. Okay, so his motivation is love? Love?
You come for me with love.
There was nothing wrong with Eredin's story in the games or the books. It does not need or should be changed, but here we are. I am truly at a loss for words. I do not understand these changes at all. But let's go into some backstory for context. So in the books, Eredin is from another world ran by the NL Elves. The elves we see on the continent, the place where the show takes place, are called Enshe Elves. Eredin is tasked by the king of the NL to collect slaves for the kingdom, preferably humans because they believe they are lesser beings than themselves. Anyways, the NL lose the ability to use the monoliths during the conjunction of the spheres. They can still kind of use them, but they can only send a small force to another world. That is why they want Ciri, since she can still use the monoliths, so they can send larger forces to conquer other worlds. In the show, why does Eredin want to go to other lands? The book Eredin has a clear reason. The show version is in love, I guess, which equates to taking over worlds? Now in Blood Origin, their reason was so they can get more food since they ran out. But why does he want to conquer worlds now, is the question. In the main show, does Eredin literally just want to return to the continent to be with his lover Brian? When Ciri was at the Dark Elf Sphere, why didn't Eredin just say, hey, I want to go home and see my lover. I got stranded here and it would be really cool if you brought us with you. Instead of charging at them on horseback and saying very threatening things. Then both Jacob and Lauren brought up how he's more of a gray character now. And hopefully people will be able to relate with that character. No! He is your big bad villain for the show. He should be a dick. That's like if Game of Thrones decided to have Ramsay Bolton have a sad backstory. It just doesn't make sense. But to be honest, I would have been able to live with all that stuff if they included the NL Elves, but their exclusion is the biggest problem with this whole thing. There doesn't seem to be two different races of elves like in the books. So for instance, if Eredin got Ciri in the books, the NL could conquer other worlds in theory. They have a huge army to support them. In the show, since Eredin is from the continent, he has no army. He has like 8 other people with him on the Dark Elf Sphere. The elves on the continent don't have enough resources to fight the humans. How are they going to conquer other worlds with Eredin? Also, why would they even listen to him? They don't know him. If I was them, I would retcon this whole thing. act as if Blood Origin does not exist, and move on with the main show. I know that's not going to happen, but I can hope. So what do you think of the changes to Eredin? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Leave it down in the comments below, and if you want more Witcher content, please subscribe and like the video. Check out the Twitter link in the description below, and as always, have an awesome day.